Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number, I do believe it is 638, Mr. Grizzly, based on the descriptions I've been sending you, of the Daily Beaver Morning Show.
That's all. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. It's 6:38 if we include the 8-hour special.
I know, but I didn't give that one a number, so there's something amiss. Anyway, okay. we'll figure that one out.
Figure that out later.
Yeah, because I didn't send you a description for the debate one, so I never gave it a number.
Okay,
but we'll figure it out.
It's one number. We're off one.
It's one number. We're off one number. Doesn't matter. I probably doubled one up at some point along the way.
I'm pedantic, but this one was just like, well, 38, 39, 40.
I probably sent you one that had the same number 2 days in a row and then caught it and then just fixed it on my own, that I threw you off.
Yeah, because of the way my brain works is like sometimes you'll send me an email and what you've done is cut and pasted something new into the body of an old one.
Exactly.
Comes up as the day before's date. I'm like, well, I don't need that.
Right.
I'm like, well, it's yesterday's date. I need one for today.
Yep.
So I don't even look at it because it's not. That's the way my brain works, right?
Yep. I know. So I always have to go back. Oh, okay, take two. Damn.
It's like, well, why would I look at that? I need one for today, not yesterday. I have yesterday's. I need today's. It's just the way the brain works.
Yep. No worries. I got you.
It's the ADHD, amongst others. Maybe I'm on the spectrum. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. We just figure out how it works and then we find that path.
Exactly.
That's good enough. So today, recording day, is Thursday, May 1st, 2025, new month. April truly was a spring month here at the Beaver Lodge. Not very many warm days, but warmer days, but not many days in the month where I went out without a jacket. So we're actually getting spring. So there you go. Happy birthday to my sister. Love you, Deb. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, and thank you to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. And it looks like it's going to be a lovely day here at the Beaver Lodge. Mr. Grizzly, how is your mental health today, sir?
I'm going to go with so far so good. It's not great, but it's okay. Yesterday was terrible. Yesterday was really bad. I'd only had 3 hours sleep. So when you're running on no sleep and you don't have to be in an office, you're like, okay, I'm going to take a nap. Well, that didn't work out. So then all the dark thoughts invade my mind.
Yeah.
And it was not good. It was a dark day. A lot of dark thoughts, a lot of bad thoughts, even, the existential, what's the point of any of this? You know,
Mm.
and that happens when I don't get enough sleep. It's really bad for everybody's mental health when you don't get enough sleep. It's simple as that. The human body can function fully on 4 hours. You won't be great, you won't be productive, but you'll function.
Right.
Less than 4 hours, and it's extremely detrimental to your physical and mental well-being.
Oh, yes.
And it really took its toll on me yesterday. I had a really good night's sleep. I fell asleep watching the hockey game. I woke up, I don't know what time it was. The game had ended. I got up and climbed into bed, fell asleep right away, and didn't wake up until like maybe 15 minutes before my alarm. And that was
Okay.
due to the bizarre sertraline dreams that I'd just like to be able to escape some of them sometimes, man, because they're so real.
Yeah.
They're so vividly real that you wake up like I've punched things in my sleep and hit the wall in the dream, right? Trying to defend myself or jumping out of the way of something in the dream and throwing myself to the other side of the bed. Like it's
Mhm.
you don't get great sleep, but at least
Right.
last night I got about 7 hours, which is big for me. So yeah, I'm doing much better this morning. Yesterday was dark. It was I was tempted to do an ASMR last night, but I knew there was a hockey game on, and I was in a dark place, and I thought maybe I shouldn't talk right now because I might
Mm.
put something out there that I cannot retract. Right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
When you're in a
mhm.
dark place, that's what happens. So yeah, that yesterday was bad, and I don't know. Sleep, without it, you will lose potentially everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. As a chronic insomniac, although I have to say things have gotten a lot better since we started doing this show.
Yeah, regular scheduled sort of.
I guess so, yeah, because I have to regularly be up, um, at a certain time that, the first few years, I guess I was sort of still trying to do regular life, and then over the last 2, I've sort of adapted more. I'm not, even though my 21-year-old self would probably look at me and said, "You promised you would never do this."
Yeah.
The 52-year-old me is actually pretty good with going to bed at 9:30 on a Friday night if I'm tired.
Well,
You
once you
know?
get to a certain age in life, it's like, I don't have FOMO. I don't have a fear of missing out on anything because you know what's happening in that nightclub or that pub
The same thing that happened last Friday night at that nightclub.
and has for the last 50 years. I'm not missing out on anything. You come to realize I came to realize that a long time ago because I was a nightclub DJ.
Right.
So I probably knew it before most people. I'll say I probably knew it before a heck of a lot of people, not most people, but a heck of a
Yeah.
lot of people. But I still enjoyed to DJ. So, I'd finish my set and then let's go to Hull because Ottawa had closed.
Right.
Let's go to Hull. And even after Ottawa stayed open till 2, we'd still go to Hull because all the other staff members would show up, right?
Right.
And there was always a place where they'd lock the doors and we could stay and have a drink and, get home at 5 or 6 in the morning. And it's like, okay, I can't keep doing that because that's hard on the mind and body. Eventually you just go, yeah, I'm pushing 30 now, so maybe it's time to dial it back a bit.
Yeah.
Sometime around 35 I did.
Yep. Exactly. Well, they're also like you said, right, as you get older, it's how do you put it? It you're not I mean, you are losing stuff in a certain way, but you're losing stuff because you're choosing
You're
other
choosing to.
stuff
Yes.
as well,
Yeah.
right? So it's you can't do it all, so some stuff has to go. And you're not unhappy, right,
No,
with
no.
the new stuff, like, you take on a spouse, you take on kids, and you get like, having kids is worry, I get
Mhm.
it, but there's all the other stuff that comes with it, with like being a family and whatnot, and all the other joys that a lot of people don't understand until they have it. And it's, oh my God, but you can't go on vacation when you want. You can't. Yeah, but you also, you on your side, don't get the joy of hearing someone say "mama" or "dada" for the first time,
Well,
right? It's,
yeah, yeah,
life is about trade-offs,
yeah. Well,
right?
and you start to what was that line from um, Jerry Maguire? It was the line that what's the name of the character in the film? She says, "I'm a 27-year-old single mother who would rather settle in on a Saturday night in a warm bath with a good book."
Yep.
When everybody else is out clubbing and having a good time. And I think I might be approaching that stage of my life. Don't get me wrong, I still like to go out to the pub on a Friday, but I go out at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm usually home by like 6, maybe 6:30. A late night would be 8.
Every now and then, it's like, even though I'm like 52, it's like just one night. One night. I want to go raving just one more night.
One more time. Well,
One more time before I go.
there's a scene happening in the UK where they have there's two different scenes that are happening in the UK. They have early morning raves on a Saturday
Oh,
that
that
are
would be wonderful.
that are drug and dry free,
That would be
drug free,
wonderful.
dry and drug free
Oh, thank yes. Yes,
for like
please.
Muslim kids who literally want to experience that life, but don't want the drugs, don't want the alcohol, and going out late at night, their parents might frown on that. But if they're out at Saturday morning from, say 6 a.m. till noon at a rave, that's cool.
Oh, what a
Eh,
beautiful idea.
Well, and there's daytime raves now that they're having for Gen X who started the whole rave culture. So
Oh,
people in their 50s, people in their early 50s to mid 60s to even in some cases, you get millennials who are in their 40s now want to experience what it was like. And they're doing it instead of like Coachella, where they have the EDM tent, or
right.
or Ultra, which is this giant corporate EDM fest, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong; I think it's incredible. Or we have Escapade here in Ottawa. They're all amazing festivals that they put a lot of time and money and effort into, and I like them, and I think they're cool. But they're also $400 to $500 a ticket. Number one, and number two, unlike what they're doing in the UK, is they put up a tent in the middle of a field somewhere, and yes, they have lights, and yes, they have LED video walls, but it's more like the DIY that the rave scene was in the beginning,
Mhm.
where a bunch of people would get together, they'd rent some generators, they'd rent a PA, they'd go out in the middle of a field somewhere and have a party, and that's how it started, and it's taken it back to that, but it starts at, like, 10 a.m. on a Saturday.
Mhm. Apparently, there's one out in BC. There's uh, a Twitter friend that I've had. We've never actually met in real life, but like for about like 7 or 8 years, and we just like chat and chat and chat like this. There's something out in BC called Shambhala or something.
Yeah, Shambhala
Yeah,
Music Fest.
yeah, something like that. It's a farmer that lets out his field for it, because apparently it's really great.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe that'll be there. But it's like, just I keep on hearing like Lee Aaron in my head. Just
Mhm.
one more time. I just want just
Well, there used to be
just
one
one
in
last one.
the Annapolis Valley in Nova Scotia called Evolve, which was an EDM festival as well. And it was kind of a grassroots thing. And I don't know if it's still going on. Shambhala still is going on though, but
Yeah.
Shambhala is not a rave.
No.
It's a music festival,
Yes.
whereas Evolve was an EDM fest.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my God, just yeah, but yeah, I'm like I said, yeah, as if you've been watching this week over the course of the mornings, right? I'm looking slightly more rejuvenated with every
Getting some
passing
sleep.
day. Exactly. But oh my, like the morning after the election show, everything hurt.
Yeah.
Everything. Like I was
Congratulations.
just like
Well,
one
welcome
big
to your 50s.
stiff ball, and it was just like crack,
Yeah.
crack. And then the next day it was like, okay, a little looser. Maybe if I go yeah, looser enough that I could imagine like going out and playing tennis,
Mhm.
and maybe like that running around, whatnot, motion is lotion, loosen me up a bit. I mean, listen, I was I played my first match of the year the other day, and I played very solidly, and I won 6-4. And then yesterday, I was down 5-1 to the same person. Before, like, my body was like, "Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're starting to feel this." So I lost a respectable 6-4. But
That's not
I
bad.
I caught up in the end, but it took me 6 full games for my body to just like, "Oh god," to get to the starting point where I was a week ago.
Well, I have a couple of things to attend to today. That yesterday was a complete write-off. Like I had planned to go take care of something for a friend of mine, help him out with a tech issue, and
Mhm,
I couldn't think. Like it's like the worst thing I could have done was show up, plug a laptop in, and go, okay, let's figure this out together. No,
mm,
no, dude, I had a hard time trying to produce this show yesterday. To give you
mm,
the state of my mind was in, it was like, thank goodness I've got this on almost automaton mode. But to troubleshoot something for a friend, it was not going to happen, and I had to resign myself to the fact that yesterday was going to be a total write off, and it was.
mhm,
Um, I think I can take solace in the fact that because I'm not working, I didn't have to call in sick,
right.
right? Or I, I rarely ever did call in sick. I'd show up anyway and be a
Miserable.
waste of skin. And I've had people say, You should go home." I'm like, "Well, yeah, Paul, why did you come in?" "Well, it's responsibilities, job, and people are depending upon me." It's like, it's one day. Go home, get some rest. And I miss having that kind of influence in my life from a management. Because I've had jobs in the past where I don't care if you're dying, get in here.
Right.
I'm sure you've heard that.
Yes.
Like, dude, I have pneumonia. I don't care, get in here. We have work to do. Yeah, that's how people die.
Mhm,
And also you have to remember, I was often working on, you know, construction sites, and I had a boss who demanded that.
yeah, yeah, that's not safe.
Stupid.
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
I think over time he mellowed and realized that, oh man, that's a stupid thing to do. Somebody had a conversation with him one day and said, this is what could happen in this instance. Maybe we shouldn't do that to people. So yeah.
Yeah, indeed. You were saying, before you fell asleep, I don't know how much of the match you saw.
Um, I saw that they were losing 2-0, and I think sometime in the second period I dozed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2-0 at the end of the first. I think it's a little
Yeah,
hazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of the first. Oh, man.
Well, then that first goal by Ovechkin, no,
Yeah, I know.
holy crap! Nobody was going to stop that.
I
Nobody
know,
was going to stop that.
I know. It's just they played so hard.
Yeah.
They played so hard, and especially, like, the last, like, few minutes when they pulled the goalie, I mean, they were just buzzing around that net. They did everything they could, and it was just not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, they were up against a better, more experienced, seasoned veteran team.
Mm,
There's like
no doubt.
Gallagher's the oldest player on the Canadians. The Montreal Canadiens are the youngest averaged age team to ever make the playoffs in the history of the league.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you,
No,
you
no.
look at the bench, you'd see the guys on the bench, and it's like, why? I
You can
thought they
still
were
see the
growing.
pimples.
Well, it's like, why aren't they growing their playoff beards? Because they can't. They're too young. And I'm not knocking their youth.
No,
The
no.
youth is good. It's how they were able to skate so fast and so long and so
Yeah, yeah.
hard. But that kind of youth doesn't have playoff experience,
Right.
and
But
it it,
still.
it showed. Hey,
Yeah,
look.
but still, there's no hanging in the head. They played an incredible series.
Well, and Christian's right here. They did have a doc, and I think it was on Netflix. Was it on Netflix? It was. I did see the doc. I
Yeah.
didn't watch it yet, but I did see it. It's called Rebuild, and
Mhm.
it's about rebuilding the team. And
They're doing well. They're doing
Martin St.
well.
Louis brought them from literally dead last to making the playoffs. Now they did have to do it on their last game of the year, but that doesn't matter. They made the playoffs,
Mhm.
so that's a big jump. And I was talking to a friend about that, and he says, well, they made the playoffs. That's an achievement. Yes, it is. But you want to advance to the Stanley Cup final and win the whole damn thing. That's the point of playing the game,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? So
Absolutely. But, I mean, still, right, there's there are years, and this is true, right? There are times where you say, well, at least they made the playoffs, and it's loser talk. And there are
Yes.
times you say, at least they made the playoffs, and it's like, damn, we got invited to the party.
Yes.
So it's like,
Correct.
it's
Yes. And that's what Montreal can take solace in the fact that, hey, you made the playoffs.
right.
You were at the beginning of the season. They were like, no, that's not. They'll never make it.
No.
So
I mean,
tonight we have Game 6, Ottawa,
yes,
in Ottawa.
yes.
This is going to be exciting.
Go, Sens, go.
I don't know what the outcome will be, but they've had the momentum for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the first 3 games were overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Their first 4 games, first 4 games, no, sorry, the
not
first game wasn't overtime.
game
The next
wasn't.
3 were overtime.
Yeah, the first one was a blowout.
Yes. Well, scoreboard it was a blowout.
Yes, 6-2. Yes.
Yeah. On the scoreboard it was a blowout. But if you watched the game, you'd be like, oh, that wasn't that wasn't a blowout at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so exciting, so exciting. And
Dan says that right here. He says, I said Sens in 7.
You did say that.
Yeah.
You did say that. And the Jets.
Yeah, they won.
Hello, my friends. Boom.
Well, and they're expected to, but
no, they're
it's
not
going to
actually.
Well, they were the first place team in the league.
But I'm looking in the brackets for some reason. I was looking at the bracket for some reason. It had the Jets. Oh no, sorry, I'm mistaken. Sorry, that's Edmonton and LA.
That's
Edmonton
what I thought.
Is the upset.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no,
the
Jets were expected to be, to at least get to 3rd round, possibly Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
And if I know that if you live in Winnipeg, if you don't make the finals, the season was a failure. And I understand that because they were the best team in the league all season.
Mm-hmm.
They earned that, and they're still playing like the best team.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But it's not going to be a cakewalk because it's a Stanley Cup playoffs. That means your opponent wants to win as badly as you do.
Mm-hmm. But hey, listen, we had 5 teams going in. Only 4 were going to be able to advance because Toronto and Ottawa, one would cancel each other out.
Yeah.
And we might be looking at going forward with 3 here.
That's right.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Edmonton, Winnipeg, and either Ottawa or Toronto Edmonton and Winnipeg should advance. Ottawa, Toronto, the Battle of Ontario. Again, I'm saying Sens in 7. It all depends on tonight, right?
Yep. So excited. Yeah. Speaking of people who are making the most of an opportunity, I've been talking to you about this guy for a couple of days now, Gabriel Diallo.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, he was playing Grigor Dimitrov. Now, Grigor Dimitrov is from Bulgaria. He's been on the circuit for a while. When Roger Federer was still playing and Dimitrov came on the scene, they nicknamed him Baby Fed.
Baby Fed.
Yes. They had similar styles and a bit of a similar look. Dimitrov has been as high as, I think, number 5 in the world and is currently number 15. Gabriel Diallo just entered the top 100 this year. He got an entry into the qualification rounds for this tournament. And he lost in the second round of qualifications, the last round. But he was the highest ranked player. And somebody had to pull out of the main draw. So they call that a lucky loser. He gets into the main draw. The person he was supposed to play against is Carlos Alcaraz, who just recently was number 1 in the world. So, yay. But he has to pull out. So Diallo gets another lucky loser. Wins that one, gets to the second round, wins the second round, gets Grigor Dimitrov. He won yesterday. Biggest match of his life. On the biggest stage of his life. There are only 9 1,000 level tournaments all year long. He's at one right now. He's playing right now like he's a top 8 player in the world.
Well, it's good on him.
Right now. And the French Open is coming in a couple of weeks. And this is on clay, the tournament that he's playing in right now. So his next match, however, is going to be tougher because it's someone who's even higher ranked, Lorenzo Musetti from Italy, who right now, based on his victory yesterday, is number 9 in the world. So it's going to be one hell of a match, and it's going to be a tall lift, but so is Grigor Dimitrov. so talk about making the most of your opportunity. But yeah, this guy is now, I think, oh God, where did he rise to now? 50, he's 54th in the world now, Diallo, with this win. And to give you an idea how big this is, his entire winnings for the year so far were $246,615. Yesterday's win alone got him $187,500.
Wow.
Yeah. That
Well,
literally pays like first travel and everything for a full season and next season. And right.
That's a big jump. Yeah.
That means that when you get a paycheck like that, that means you get all the training and whatnot. You can afford it to keep on playing at that level, not just pop in and then drop back down. So, this guy's here to stay.
Oh yeah.
It's so exciting. It's so exciting. So yeah, we have right now we have 3 Canadian men in the top 55 players in the world.
Oh hey, I'm just looking at the other things you sent me here. It's like I'll put this on the screen because this is cool. Madame Black.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Madame or Mademoiselle?
I'm not sure. She might be married. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Lady Black? How about that?
Yes.
Ellie Black coming in hot, winning gold in the Cairo World Cup Vault Championships. Like, way to go. Way to go. After how many people said, oh, you're too old to be doing that sort of thing. And she competed in Paris. And now she was awarded not an Olympic medal, but there was something from all of the other gymnastics that presented her, the other gymnasts, that presented her.
The whole IOC, actually. Right. It was a sportsmanship award.
Yeah.
Like, because there was a gymnast from France, if I'm not mistaken, that had been expected to do very well and had just fumbled, and she was devastated. And her and Shannon Olsen, who finished 4th in an event, so just missed a medal there. But they were consoling her. And like not just like a pat on the back, like they like stayed with her like for minutes and minutes, and like holding her by the shoulders and trying to make eye contact. It's like you're good, right?
Yeah.
It's like don't let this stop you. And it just got caught on camera, and I'm sure they didn't know that it was because you couldn't see them like looking for the camera. The camera was sort of at an angle. So yeah, she was awarded the Fair Play Award from the International Olympic Committee.
There you go.
For that act of compassion. And she was talking to the gymnast was Melanie de Jesus dos Santos, because she had fallen on 3 of her opening routines. And she was expected to medal in the all-around.
And the sprite from Halifax, Ms. Ellie Black, is planning to attend the Olympics in LA in 2028.
Yep. Yeah,
she's 5th games.
Yep. I mean, she's still really good. I mean, she's still top 10 in the world all around. I think
she'd be 33, which is, I know people consider that the top end of the age for gymnasts.
Now,
But, with today's sports medicine and health and fitness and nutrition and the science that goes into perfecting athletes' bodies and their mental health, I don't think that's a challenge for her to make those games. I really don't.
And now you're allowed to be an apparatus specialist?
Yes.
Right. So because in terms for the all-around, there's a way that you qualify that you can, an apparatus specialist can have their score counted in or something. Like they've changed some of the rules, because before you had to do everything that was just all around, and things have evolved since then. She is the senior most and the best person on the team as well. So in this case, in the case of the United States, there's so many gymnasts and so of them all good, you can have like 5 or 6 all-arounders on the team. You don't really need an apparatus specialist. But on a team like Canada, if you can have 1 or 2 that are like excellent and on 2 or 3 elements like this, and can really boost the team score to help get them up to qualify the team, why not? Right? So she can pretty much stay as long as she might be able to stay into her 40s if she would like to. Right?
Well,
And it has been done. There was a Bulgarian person on vault specifically, which
Mhm.
is the event when she won gold.
Right.
But,
Well, as long, if she can stay healthy, and I think she can, without any catastrophic injuries, I don't see any issues whatsoever. I mean, really. And again, like I said, with the sports science and sports medicine they have today, I mean, some techniques that they're using for people who have been in, I'll say, a car accident or some sort of industrial accident of some type, some of the science that has been developed in sports medicine is being utilized today to help people who have been injured. Also, battlefield medicine.
yes. Yeah, indeed.
One of the things that they talked about, and it's become common practice today, was let's freeze them right away.
Right.
If it's a spinal injury, they freeze them right away. It kills all the swelling. And there's people who literally 15, 20 years ago, you have lost the use of your legs. You will now be a wheelchair user. That's not the case every time anymore.
Exactly.
There was a football player who played for the Buffalo Bills who thought that's it, his career is over, and they froze him because the medic on the team, one of the doctors on the team, had served in the theater of battle, in the theater of war, and said, "No, we'll freeze him right away." And they're like, "What?" He goes, "Trust me." Yeah, he was back playing football the next season.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
So it's a combination of sports medicine, sports science, and battlefield medical intervention that has helped change a lot of things. And they just do more and more research into how to, on a daily basis, right? There's always ongoing research on how to fix, repair, improve outside of those fields I just mentioned, just general medicine. They're always looking to solve things. So, yeah. I'm going to grab a coffee, sir. I need one, and then you can dive right in. We've been babbling for a bit here.
Yeah, but we're breaking some news here.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'll be right back.
By the way, that Bulgarian female vaulter, his name is Oksana Chusovitina, and she competed at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics at the age of 46. So there you go. When you're an apparatus specialist, you can, you can stay on that team for quite a long time. The final thing that we have, I know it's a little sports heavy at the beginning, but this is really, really big news. If you're a soccer fan out west, the Vancouver Whitecaps right now are playing in a big tournament. I'm guessing it's tournaments from teams from all across the continent. So the best team from each league, I guess, or the best teams from each league all across the continent all compete together in a playoff. And they compete for the continental crown, I guess, the best team on the continent. So the Vancouver Whitecaps were playing against Inter Miami. If that name rings a bell, that's the team that Lionel Messi.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of the headlines. So Messi's team lost. I'm like, I'm sorry, no, he plays for the team. He doesn't own it.
Exactly.
Actually, I believe he has a piece of it, but you know what I mean. It's like,
exactly. Yeah.
He plays for the team. It's not his team.
But he came to North America to try and help boost soccer over here, and this is the team that he plays for. He's one of the best players to have ever played the game.
Correct.
The first time Inter Miami came to Vancouver, after having signed him, people were very disappointed because he didn't play that day, and a lot of people felt like they got ripped off, and there was even a class action option started as a result of that, because they advertised him, but he did not play.
He didn't play. Well, Vancouver has every right to advertise him, but they don't have control over whether he plays or not. I mean,
I know, exactly. So it seems that in this tournament, the soccer tournament, the Whitecaps have been kicking a whole bunch of ass, for lack of a better term, and by playing Inter Miami, they have to play 2 matches, and then they add them up, and the Vancouver Whitecaps defeated They won 3-1, and yesterday in their most recent match, and with both matches together, they had a 5-1 aggregate scoreline, and they are going to face either the Cruz Azul or the Tigre UNAL in the Champions Cup final on June 1st. The final, the best
That's pretty
club
awesome.
team on the entire freaking continent.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and Messi did play in the game.
yep, he did. He did.
Just
He played this time around. Yeah.
you
So
can't carry the whole team on your back in soccer. It's not like basketball where literally one player can make a huge difference on the team.
yeah. So geez. So according to this article here, for Vancouver, the final will represent one of the biggest matches in the club's history. I guess so. With the winner of the final set to play in the expanded club World Cup. They had previously only made it as far as the semifinal in 2017. So it seems that this is like the best club on the continent. And if they actually are declared the best club on the continent, they go on to go play for the best club in the world.
Yes, which is a World Club Cup Championship, which is
Damn.
It's different than the World Cup, of course, because that's countries. But yeah,
Canada, a Canadian team. That would be so cool. Damn. Messi was held without goal for both matches, by the way. So good defense. And one of the 2 matches was a shutout, actually.
nice.
So way to go, Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, that's pretty massive for a North American club team to well, I mean, especially for the Vancouver Whitecaps. How long have they been in the as a team? I don't even know. Are they MLS? Yeah, they're MLS.
They're MLS now. Yeah, I don't know how long. I'd have to look that up.
I got a friend out in out west in BC who she and her daughter attend a lot of the games because they're big football fans, right? Well, soccer. I'll say soccer so I don't confuse people. But yeah, she goes to most of the games, and she's a big booster. And hey, Natalie, if you're ever watching, we went to high school together. Yeah. So,
2009.
they joined the MLS.
Yep.
Okay, because they were a team before that. There was a Whitecaps team in the '80s, but it's that was a different league, a different team. They just kept the name going, which makes sense. It's the same as the Ottawa Senators,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, this is so exciting. Listen, I will admit to you, I'm not a big soccer watcher because pretty much only the Olympics and the World Cup. But if this is on, I can't imagine it wouldn't be on at some point. I
it'll
will
be
watch
televised,
this.
yeah.
I will definitely watch this. This is historic. So there you go. A little sports heavy to start, but hey, that's okay. There's a lot to celebrate right here. These are big achievements.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. All right, kits and cubs. Before we get into it, a little bit of take a little look at the markets because what's his face down south of us has still been running his mouth, changing his mind up and down and all around about auto tariffs and whatnot. Listen, I would like to try to explain to you everything, but after all the election and whatnot, I will be honest, I slept off a little bit. I was a little tired. I've been following the news and picking up some stuff, but I looked at it and says, oh, he's going to do what? And it may affect what and this and how and what's the exception? And it's like, you know what? Yeah, my brain is too tired to figure him out. So I just took a pass. Just let me know what you finally decide and I'll report on that. But apparently it has something to do with auto tariffs and parts and certain exceptions, and then there's other things, and it's complicated. The system that he first announced that was supposed to be very simple, he just added another layer of complication to try to undo some of the things he screwed up. And that's basically that's basically the broad lines, but I still can't understand. I don't want to say I haven't cared enough because I care enough about what happens to Canadian people, but I haven't cared enough about him to try and figure out what this move is right now. But I will get around to it. However, it seems to have had a positive impact on stock markets. Yesterday was not necessarily the greatest day, and the day before there was a lot of bouncing around. But if we're looking at the Asia Pacific markets, most of them are up at the moment, with the Nikkei in Japan up over 1%. In Europe, opening trading, everything is pretty much up except for like one or two markets, but everything is like within the, you know, everything's within a 1% range. So nothing major here. And for the Americas, we are looking at an implied open of Dow futures of about 0.7%, of the S&P futures of about 1%, and of the NASDAQ futures of about 1.75% for the day. So it looks like it will be a positive day. After digesting all the
That's good.
exceptions and all that kind of stuff, it looks like this might be something that will be somewhat helpful. But again, there's always, because with Trump, there's always that little thing at the end, right? It's always with the caveat that, yes, we do want to bring all this manufacturing home, and him claiming it, with everything that's already being done right now, it's like they haven't even started building another auto plant right now. Like, come on, dude, right? The thing is not working. So there's a lot of bullshit from him, right? A lot of bullshit. And you're going to have to carry that bullshit in your bullshit detector into other things he's recently said with regard to the prime minister.
I have to share something with you right now that was just sent to me that you're going to get a kick out of.
All right.
Let me show you. I'll show you the tweet, and then I'll show you the thing attached to it. You're going to love this. It's good because we were number 3, and then because we switched for the audio podcast, we were number 3 in Canada, and then because we switched number 3 for political podcasts,
right,
and then because we switched distributors from Megaphone to Acast, we dropped right off the radar. Then it took a bunch of work on my part to change things, eliminate this, build up that, get all our shows highlighted, and now we're climbing the charts again. But this one I think you'll take particular joy in, because I am. Let me just blow this up so it's easier to read.
Yes.
Matt Gaetz is getting beaten by a beaver and a grizzly.
I know, I saw that yesterday.
I didn't see that until just now. I'm like, yeah.
That's actually my screen cap.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I put that and I said, well, I can't remember what it was, what I said, but it's like, oh yeah, oh, there goes the neighborhood. I think was my comment.
Yeah, I didn't see that till just now. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of funny. I'm like, yeah. 50-something guys that nobody's ever heard of outside of, our little bubble, and all of a sudden we're ahead of him. But that's not difficult. I mean, he's kind of
yeah. Hey, Matt Gaetz, we're on top.
We're on top.
Ew.
Well, we are in Canada. We are in Canada, so we're automatically on top of.
I don't want to be anywhere near proximity, though.
No. Goodness, no. God, no.
Just being above him on the charts gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Hell no.
All right. We play on this show. All right. Get some cups. The dust is starting to settle.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of have some dates being thrown around. It seems that the date for Parliament to resume, it will be May 26th. That's what we're looking at. So 1 week after Victoria Day. There's been some chatter about cabinet, the size of it, because the last one was super small and some departments were like folded into each other. Word on the tweet for the moment is that cabinet size will be about 30, so it will be bigger than what we went into the selection with, but just still smaller than I think the 38 with which Justin Trudeau started. Again, some questions as to, there's a lot of people here. Carlos Letao, who was elected in Quebec, former finance minister in Quebec. Evan Solomon, former newscaster and host of Power and Politics, and also of CTV's Power Play, both of them. And I think Question Period as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe who got a seat. Got Gregor Robertson, who's former mayor of Vancouver.
Sean Fraser been reelected.
Sean Fraser's been reelected. We have Bruce Fanjoy, who had like the big win.
Yes.
We have Bucky Belanger, who was the first person not named Ralph from Saskatchewan to hold a seat for the Liberals in maybe like 40 years. Well, it's true. But so there are some people now. All of these names, of course, seem to be men. So the star female candidates that can be put up, it seems that Mark Carney is still committed to gender parity for cabinet.
Mhm.
But there has been some, because of, and there was some conversation of this, but because of all the way that the internet and social media has transitioned over the past few years, it seems that there has been a lot more difficulty in attracting female candidates. The NDP was the only party that was able to field a slate of candidates that was close to 50-50. I think they had 51% female, but everybody else was well below.
Well, I wonder what the shadow cabinet, which that's an invented term, the shadow cabinet will be for the Conservatives, because remember, the Liberal cabinet had, 38 members at the highest point?
Yeah.
And there were how many shadow members?
Mhm.
Like 6 or 8 more?
Yeah.
I thought, but I thought you believed in smaller government.
Yeah. Well,
Meanwhile, Pierre Poilièvre spent how many millions more than the Prime Minister did?
yeah.
Millions.
When you have when you're in the opposition, and it looks for about the better part of 2 years like you're going to be inevitable, it's easy to keep a lot of people online with the promise of potential carrots.
Well, who's he going to ask to give up his seat so he can run in a by-election is the question.
And what's it going to cost him?
Well, it's
Because I'm sure the
probably
person
going to
isn't
be.
going to go for free.
Well, it's probably going to be in Alberta somewhere, maybe
Well,
in
yes.
Calgary.
Yes.
So who's he going to ask to throw themselves on the sword for him?
And better hope
I
the chair was
have a
nice to him on the
speculation.
way up.
Well, I have a speculation as to who he's going to ask, but I'm going to keep it to myself for the time being. I will share it with you in the private chat, but I'm not going to make the announcement here because it might ruffle a few feathers. But I'm predicting this riding. Sorry for not talking while I'm typing here. That's what I'm predicting.
I had 2 names in my head, and that was one of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm predicting. Now I might be wrong, but I'm predicting that. And if that comes to pass, we will make that announcement. But there's a reason I'm not making that announcement right now, right? So.
Yep. Well, hey, like I said, as soon as you said that, 2 names popped into my mind, and that was one of them. So
I figured as much.
we are we're on a similar wavelength here. I would not be surprised that I think that this person of whom you are speaking is the type of person, based on what you have told me of her, because I have no experience of this person myself other than seeing them on my television, but is the type of person who might be, what's the adjective I am looking for, without sounding too cruel?
Ambitious.
Ambitious. Not that
Ambitious.
there's anything wrong with ambition, but ambition can be a bad thing.
Yes.
But yes, ambitious enough to step aside in
If
order to
promise
have
something
this
big
happen.
later.
Yes,
I know
exactly.
this person would do this.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel you there.
I know this person would do this.
I feel you there. So the other person I was thinking of was to make a potential problem go away.
Mm-hmm.
Offer them something nice somewhere else to make the potential problem go away. But this would be not a potential problem. This is probably an extremely loyal foot soldier, who would be happy to do you a favor, though. Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, PNC Bio, but we're speculating amongst ourselves here, and sometimes you just can't say. There's reasons we can't say in this instance.
Yes.
and they are justifiable, validated reasons.
Yes.
And I'm going to leave it at that. But
Remember, there are legalities.
yes, and that is the thing. We don't need a lawsuit,
Yes.
and
It-
we're
it's
speaking about a group of very litigious individuals.
yes. This is not gossip. This is CYA.
Yes.
Well,
Well, so
but
Melissa
points
Landsman, I
taken.
mean,
But points
Melissa
taken.
Landsman was the deputy leader going into this election.
Yes.
Is she still the deputy leader?
Well, they haven't had the caucus would have to meet, right? They've only met once since Chrystia Freeland went stabbed Trudeau in the heart. So
Was that a stab in
as
the
a
heart, or was that a strategic move on both their parts?
see, I suggested that first on, right?
Mhm, yes, you did.
That it could
Yeah.
just be a strategic move. Let's make a big deal. Come on, Chrystia, take your shot. Let's go. You've been loyal. Take your shot. See if that boosts you. But and also just the timing, because way before that happened, I suggested, well, we need to do the same thing that we did in the United States. Well, I said, well, if we're going to try to pull the Kamala, it's going to be 100 days before potential budget would be around. And I gave a date, and sort of like, well, this was within 2 months of it.
Yeah, I
So,
wonder.
because you always got to wonder. Like I said, the one thing about Justin Trudeau that I kept on saying is that he was very, very good at playing the long game
Oh, very good at it, yes.
like this. And as a boxer loves a good rope-a-dope.
And he
So
was
he
good at
stayed
that.
on long enough to convince the Conservatives that he was absolutely going to be running, that they've had no contingencies whatsoever. And I guess maybe the Prime Minister had a sense that, or the former Prime Minister now, had
Mhm.
a sense that maybe someone wasn't good at pivoting. It could have been. Listen, politics is often a various collection of dirty tricks, but politics is also a lot about just basic human behavior and
Mhm,
human nature.
mhm.
And once you can figure out what someone's nature is, you can figure out 8 times out of 10 how it is in the ballpark they are going to react, or what it is that they are going to say, particularly when they are addicted to formula and slogans. So at some point, if you're really paying attention to what the other people are doing and saying, watch them a lot and analyze their words a lot and find their go-to patterns, just like when you're playing tennis. Oh, if I serve there or on at 30,
Mhm.
40, they always serve down the line, down the middle, you know, you start figuring it out. Well, then you can hit them off at the pass. Sometimes you can even bait them.
Yes.
Oh, they're going to see that. That's nice and juicy. Let them hit that. And then when they go to yum, yum, yum on that, boom, over the over the head with a bat, right? It's politics is dirty. It's again, politics is not where you go for morality and fair play. We would like it to be virtuous because us on the other side are decent people who try to be good and try to improve ourselves every day. Like this, but that's not politics. Not on the battlefield. It's like it's like a politics is like, so if I can cut a bitch, I will.
Yes. That's
Right.
sad but true. It is a vicious game, and not everybody wants to play in it.
Mm-mm. No.
So I want to address something here quickly. I knew they were going to oust Musk. That's why he's been crying, like with PayPal. His behavior cost him a company. I just read something on Bloomberg where that is a rumor. And I think this is just PR spin on Tesla's part, saying it's a rumor they were looking to replace him. It's not happening. They still have full confidence in him. That's just literally the PR spin, I think. But that's currently the messaging from Tesla on Bloomberg. They are looking to replace him
Mhm.
in the back channels quietly.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
are.
that's realistically.
Yes, and Melon Huska not, again, saying with his full chest that he's leaving Doge. He's sort of like, "Well, maybe if I just do it 3 days a week." So it's like,
Maybe he could just disappear from the public eye altogether and we could get on with our lives.
that would be much more helpful.
Won't happen. Won't
No,
happen.
won't happen, but would be much more helpful.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're looking at May 26th coming back, about a cabinet of about 30. Um, he attracted the question that we got a lot during the campaign, right? It's like, and hearing Yves-François Blanchet and Pierre Poilièvre say the same thing. It's the same team with the same ministers and the same this and the same that. Well, we were just talking hockey, right? Same team, change the coach.
Yes.
Change the GM.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes changing one person does change the team, change the direction. So, like in a country like Canada, I can
teams around, right?
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of coaches do that over the years.
In a country like Canada, I couldn't even believe that they were trying that type of line. It's like, because in a country that loves hockey, we know very well that if you change the person at the head, the rest of the team can follow.
Yes.
In a different way. So, but yes, we're going to have a new direction. Again, Prime Minister that sees himself more as a pragmatist, that has a reputation for come to the meeting prepared, because I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if I'm prepared, I'm going to have a question for you that you need to be prepared for.
Correct.
Somewhere along the way. So do not come unprepared. And he's motivated by a sense of urgency. He understands that things have to be done quickly. So hopefully it will be done quickly, but still in a way, how would I put it? We might not have to move as quick as we did during COVID. We just got to move fast and accept that things are going to be a little shoddy, and we'll have to clean them up afterwards. But let's get this done. There's going to be a little bit of that for this type of thing, but there should be less, because we do have a little bit more time. It's not like people are dying, right? But we can sustain people in the meantime. So we can put a little more thought into it, but we have to move at a very brisk pace.
Yes.
Right? Because as I mentioned yesterday, all the stuff that we need to do technically is an 8-year project, and Canadians, as much as we might be happy that we defeated the Conservatives, we didn't go all the way. We had our foot on the throat, but we didn't freaking press down. So basically, this guy ran on something that would take 8 years to do, and we gave him 2. So,
you remember? Do you remember one of the first things that Stephen Harper said when he first became prime minister, when they won that election, the first one? He says the West wanted in, the West got in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's from Toronto.
Yep.
Where's Mark Carney from again?
The West. Well,
Northwest Territories, Fort Smith.
Yeah.
And then grew up in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Northwest Territories, correct. Yeah, because that's not Nunavut.
The West is in.
Yes, the West is in. An actual Westerner. Alberta, pay attention. One of your own is the prime minister. Just to let you know. Just to let one of your own is the prime minister.
And before that, one of your own was the finance minister for quite a while.
This is correct.
Maybe that's why you got the pipeline.
Amongst other things, who received most help during COVID?
Mm-hmm.
The province of Alberta.
Yeah.
Like, when you point out to the average Albertan what the Trudeau government did for that province,
right?
They're like, oh, shit, I didn't. Maybe I didn't. And then when you point out to the extremist, no, that's not true. That's just fake news. That's WEF. That's, you know what? You need to be deprogrammed. There is no convincing some people of the truth because they want to believe the lies. Yeah. And they put their whole heart into the lies.
Yeah, absolutely. So, prime ministers, as was the case when he became leader of the Liberal Party, his first call went to Macron. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There was a call eventually with Trump. There was also a call with yesterday, the president of the European Council, Antonio Costa. But there was a call with Trump somewhere in there. And I see, oh, Mr. Grizzly, my bad. I did not send you the clip.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Address.
I knew.
I just realized in the notes that I did not do that.
Started at 1:38. I wasn't going to mention it until you got to it.
I thank you for that. That was very kind of you.
I just looked and went, there's no clip to be showing anything here, so I'll wait till he figures it out and we'll get to it then.
Ah, damn. I was so proud of myself too. Because like sometimes the outline sometimes just so you know that like the behind the scenes stuff. Sometimes the outlines are like nice and very clear, and sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm rushing to get this one finished, and they're sort of a little all over the place. And it's like trust me, go with me on this. We'll figure it out. So this morning's, I was really proud of myself because it's really nice and clean. And then I forget to add the link.
My Gmail just signed itself out for some bloody reason.
I sent it to you here in the private chat.
Yeah, I see that. Just give me a sec.
Oh my God. Some days it's a good thing I'm arguably cute because some days I'm not too bright. Oh man. Yikes. Okay. So
just give me a sec. I got to restart my email. It just crashed for some
no worries.
bloody reason.
You got that. I've got stuff to keep going. So
got to sign into everything again.
Okay.
That's so frustrating.
All right.
So frustrating.
All right. So
keep going. No, keep going.
Donald Trump made had some comments to say about the phone call with Mark Carney. Now, again, we've got to take some of this with a grain of salt because Trump says a lot of things, right? Like I said, I pointed out in a previous press conference, he kind of made it people believe that these auto plants to build more cars because they don't need Canadian cars and they don't actually want us to build Canadian cars, to be honest. Which is the one thing I always found really interesting about that. He says, "Come at the table and make a deal with me. I'm trying to steal all your jobs though, because we don't want you to make anything that we're going to buy, but come make a deal with me, so that we can make it such that we don't have to buy anything from you." Why would anybody want to make a deal like that? That's the one part I haven't. Nobody's been able to explain to me about what Donald Trump is trying to do by waging like 192 trade wars all at the same time. It's like telling everybody you don't have anything we need. It's like, well, if we don't have anything we need and your goal is to bring back any jobs that you think should be in the US that happen to be in our country, why would we negotiate with you to help you do that anyway? Just why would we come to the table for that at all? That's just dumb.
Agreed.
That's the needle on the record where I keep on getting, even if this is true, that this was the talk and Trump is just the first to announce it rather than just something he said, because he's also saying in other press conferences that, like this, "Oh, we're talking to China. China really wants to make a deal." It's like this, and was one call when the tariffs things were first put on, and there hasn't been a call since. But apparently they're negotiating and China really wants to make a deal. So that's why I'm saying, take this with, again, I think yesterday somebody said in an article I read, with a shaker of salt. But
yeah, with a shaker of salt. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Wasting away again in Margaritaville. Searching for my lost shaker of salt. Well, come on. Some people say that there's a woman to blame. I don't know. It's my own damn fault. Story of my life. My own damn fault. Always is. Always is.
Mr. Guzzi, if you have the clip ready.
Yeah, I'm just, it took me a few minutes to get signed in and get clips up, but here we are. I have it up, and I will load it so we can play it. I want to make sure I have the right timestamp so that we can, yeah, I got the right timestamp. Okay, here we go. Oh, wrong clip. Move the clip over to the right spot. It's complicated when for some reason your computer just decides to sign you out of everything.
Yep.
I'm like, wait a minute, don't sign. And I got to sign back into everything. It's a royal pain in the butt. Anyway, That's my issue, not yours. Let's just watch this, shall we? Let's watch this clip. Why is it doing that? Stop doing that. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Restream is being very finicky this morning.
He called me up yesterday. He said, "Let's make a deal." You know, he was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won. I actually think the conservative hated me much more than the so-called liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. He couldn't have been nicer, and I congratulated him. You know, it was a very mixed signal because it's almost even, which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race, but he's a very nice gentleman, and he's going to come to the White House very shortly.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. He clearly doesn't know a damn thing about Canadian politics. Number one, it's very tight. It's very. I'm like, bro, you had a tighter, slimmer victory. A much tighter, much slimmer victory.
Yes, I mean, this should be one hell of a mandate.
They're 3 seats away from a majority. That is not what you call a slim minority.
No.
It's a minority government, but it's not slim.
Yes, that's the new conservative jargon, a razor-thin minority or something.
They're 3 seats away from a majority. How is that razor thin?
It's like Harper's minorities were like 31 seats away from.
There's a huge difference.
There's no such thing as a razor thin.
The previous minority government was what, 12 seats away or 15? I'm like, come on, man.
It's a solid minority.
Yes.
Come on, man. Jeez.
Just pathetic.
So, according to Donald Trump, he's announced to the world that Mark Carney is coming to the States sometime next week.
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I hear it from my prime minister. Thank you very much. Listen, they do have to move quickly, right? And so right now we have a bit of competition between two narratives, right? Because the narrative at the beginning was, when we're going to meet, it's going to be a sovereign nations and not without respect, which, kind of got me thinking again, no talkie-talkie until the 51st, state, yada, yada, stoppy. And the 51st state stuff hasn't, yada, yada, stoppy. It stopped for about like 2 weeks during the campaign, but then every time a journalist asked, it's like, oh, you didn't include Trump on those tariffs to all the world. I was like, oh, we're still going to do that. Canada's they're nasty to us. And then, Canadian election. Like, what happened? You seem to have tempered your rhetoric over the bit. No, we're still with the 51st state.
Well, the other thing I heard him saying the other day, it might have been yesterday, I don't know. We've been getting ripped off by everybody for years. Yes. You became the wealthiest, most powerful nation in history by getting ripped off for years.
Exactly.
That's usually how I become wealthy, is people rip me off and I become rich. That's how it works, right? According to Trump, anyway. Mm-hmm. Oh, we subsidize Canada to the tune of $200 billion. No, you just buy a lot of our oil.
That's stuff you don't need.
That's stuff you don't need. Our oil, our steel, our lumber.
That's
we provide you with electricity. You want our water. I know you want our water.
So,
from my cold, dead hands,
So we'll see about how that happens. Now, of course, here's the thing, right? Trump is Trump. And like Mark Carney said the other day, near the end of the campaign, Trump has these things in his head that he keeps going back to. He too has rhetorical safety blankets that he goes to like this. So again, as we keep on saying, Canada is one of his favorite punching bags. Was in the first term, was in this term. Whenever things weren't going great at home, needed to distract, say something bad about Canada or somebody else, another ally. Right. And it's, oh my God, I can't believe he said something about this ally. And it's like the bad stuff that was happening then goes uncovered. Right. He's the master of that. So, right. There are no deals with China. Right. A lot of his initiatives are fumbling in the court. I mean, that guy they sent to El Salvador, they actually printed images with MS-13 photoshopped on his knuckles. See. I mean, things are not going well.
Yeah.
right? He needs to distract a lot.
Well, I don't think he understands what Photoshop is, because the guy interviewing him said it was Photoshopped. You can't do that. But
Yeah, I know. They didn't have Photoshop back when America was great. So shit. What? Damn, that one just flipped out. I'm so sorry. Whoa. So I gotta watch myself. Sometimes they literally just slip out. They're not
you see the
planned.
words coming out
Whoa.
of your mouth in the air, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
can't get it
man.
back. We've all had those moments.
Shit, that was bitchy. Sorry. Pardon me.
I got to run shortly here, but I have something I wanted to share with you just before I go.
Yes.
Two quick things, actually.
We got talking about too many other things to slide this one in smoothly.
Yeah, well,
which was the plan.
Yes. We did anyway. I'm gonna post this letter on the screen for those of you to you can read this. This is it was written April 30th by Chief Sheldon Sunshine, Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation, and co-signed by Chief Billy Joe Tucaro of the Mixu Cree First Nation.
Yep.
April 30th, 2025, Dear Premier Smith, regarding cease and desist separatist threats. You are attempting to manufacture a national unity crisis by enabling a referendum on separatism and a financial sell of individuals at the exact moment when Canadians need to unite against Donald Trump's America. The province of Alberta is on treaty lands. Please be advised that your irresponsible statements and actions are in breach of treaties number 6, 7, and 8. We demand that you immediately stand down from this conduct. Our treaties are sacred covenants and are to last forever. Alberta did not exist when our ancestors agreed to share the land with the Crown. The province has no authority to supersede or interfere with our treaties, even indirectly by passing the buck to a, in quotes, citizen referendum. If you or any Canadians are not happy living on treaty lands, they are free to apply for citizenship elsewhere. Sincerely, Chief Sheldon Sunshine and Chief Billy Joe Tucaro. Now, that is not the only statement. And number one, I had somebody yesterday said, we're going to have a vote on separation. And I go ahead, but you can't do it.
Go ahead.
You're on treaty lands. In order for Alberta to separate, they have to change the constitution, which means all provinces and territories need to agree to the change in constitution. Alberta has to have an agreement with the federal government to separate. That's the second thing. Okay. That's three things, actually. Change the constitution, have everybody sign on to yes. Alberta has to deal with the federal government. And the fourth thing, or fifth thing, is, I don't even know how many it is now, they have to have a majority vote for separation. And then the Crown needs to sign off on it. And I'll tell you right now, the Crown will not do that. You can have your vote, but it's never going to happen. The Crown will not sign off treaty lands to Albertans. It's just not going to happen. You do need to understand that the king, whether you like the monarchy or not, is very much in support of Indigenous people because he knows what his family did. He is not going to hand over any treaty lands to anybody. It's just not going to happen. And as the chief said, I'll reread it again. These treaties are sacred covenants and are to last forever. Alberta did not exist when our ancestors signed these treaties. So remember that. Now, we have another letter. Treaty 8 decree. This one a little bit longer, so I'll read this to you. News release. The First Nations of Treaty 8 statement on federal election. The First Nations of Treaty 8 of Alberta acknowledge the results of the 2025 federal election and extend congratulations to the incoming federal government. The First Nations of Treaty 8 are sovereign nations with rights enshrined in Treaty Number 8, and we expect the new leadership to work in genuine partnership, honoring the true spirit and intent of Treaty Number 8 and advancing meaningful reconciliation through action, not words. For too long, successive governments have failed to uphold their legal and moral obligations to our inherent and treaty rights. Our First Nations continue to face systemic barriers, underfunding, and threats to our lands, water, and way of life. The new federal government must understand that reconciliation is not optional. It is a constitutional, legal, and human imperative. We remind the new government the treaty obligations are not political issues. They are a sacred agreement, said Grand Chief Trevor McCready. McCready, yes. We expect those obligations to be respected in full. The era of making decisions for us and without us must end. We will not stand by while governments attempt to erode or rewrite the promises made to our people. We remind all elected officials that Treaty Number 8 was entered into in 1899 as a solemn agreement between sovereign nations and the Crown. It was not a surrender of land or rights, but a promise to share, coexist, and ensure mutual prosperity. That promise remains unfulfilled. Our ancestors entered into treaty in good faith for as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. That promise remains. It is not open to negotiation, modernization, or interpretation by any government. Treaty 8 First Nations will continue to assert our sovereignty, protect our lands, and fight for the well-being of our people. We are not passive participants in this democracy. We are rights holders whose voices must be central in shaping the path forward. We look forward to engaging with the new federal government in the spirit of truth, justice, and treaty. For more information, please contact Jamie Coe, Chief Administrative Officer, Treaty 8 First Nations of Alberta. So, yeah, that's what we call laying down the law. Making the statement. Daniel Smith, you can talk about having a referendum. You can even have one. But separation is simply not going to happen. It's not.
It's a grift.
It's complete
This is a grift. She's going to fundraise off this left, right, and center.
We've seen this before.
It's elected Senate all over again.
This is just,
She's promising something she can't deliver. And did I not say yesterday on the show, right? The con bullshit English translation. I'm not going to do anything to advance separation. I'm just going to create as they used to say in Quebec, the winning conditions for something to happen about separation. And then she passed this thing where she lowered the threshold for the number of signatures that you need to get a citizen generated referendum on them. And she cut it by a lot. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I think they said 165,000 signatures. I'm like, but there's 5 million people that live, almost 5 million people that live there. So you're going to say a tiny, tiny minority get to decide what the rest of us do? Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. Let me know how that works out.
To put it on the ballot, right?
Yeah.
It's the opposite thing that happened in the United States. In the United States, there was, I think it was the state of Ohio that wanted the citizens wanted to put a pro abortion thing on the ballot, and then the state turned around and said, "Well, wait! Before you do that, let's do our citizen motion first." And that citizen motion is that in order to overturn or to get a citizen motion passed, it has to be a 60% vote rather than 50% vote.
Yeah.
Let's raise the bar to allow you to access your own democracy. And then people from Ohio said,
not
fuck
happening.
no, and then passed the abortion protections. Well, this is the opposite. This is, hey, we want to break up the country and we want to put that on a citizen referendum, but we're not going to get enough people to do that with the number it is. So let's make it easier for any group of yahoos to put something that is completely destructive to the country and the province up for a citizen vote. And let's abdicate our complete and total responsibility as a government you elected to actually govern.
I want to add to this conversation by a long tweet I just read from a gentleman by the name of Eric Lombardi. He describes himself as a thoughtful guy in fintech, a champion of progress. Yimby. In Toronto, writes in the Hub Canada and the Toronto Star, which is interesting because the Hub is not exactly what you'd call a left-wing publication. So this is what he has to say. Alberta, having spent the last 20 years making the case to Canadians that the development of their resources is truly in the national interest, has finally achieved countrywide consensus, including Quebec, on this topic. Instead of leading in this moment and making it happen, Alberta's leaders and, frankly, tantrum-throwing conservative partisans are choosing instead to shoot everyone and themselves in the foot. Beyond ridiculous. Alberta wants respect as a major political center in Canada, but chooses to act like a brat instead of a nation builder. No wonder the, in quotes, Laurentian elite don't take it seriously. At least with Quebec, the argument is cultural. With Alberta, it's, in quotes, we cannot tolerate being the richest province by far. We must also be even more rich. But also, we will continue to squander our potential with provincial governance failures, and we will blame it on the rest of Canada.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
There you have it. So yeah, listen. Again, she's another one who's been doing stuff the last few weeks that I should care about, and I do care about, but I don't care enough about her to try. But yes, I do need to go figure out the more ins and outs of this thing. But yesterday, Keith Wilson, and if that name rings a bell to you,
It does.
he was one of those lawyers at the convoy thingy
Oh, okay.
that brought a lot of honor on himself. Not the guy who chased somebody down the hallway thinking he was someone else, but like sort of like the big wig that was sort of coordinated. I would assume the big wig that was coordinating them all. But he's the, like we hear about Heave a Chipmunk, and that guy there that
Heave a
chased
Chipmunk.
after someone.
Chip-yuck.
But yeah, and the guy that chased after someone. But Keith Wilson is like the guy on top of all of that movement. Is sort of like the go-to guy that movement has. So he says, huge win for Alberta sovereignty. Premier Smith updated Citizen Initiative Act slashes the referendum signature requirement from 600,000 to just 177,000. 10% of last
177.
election's voters.
So it's even smaller than I thought.
Yes, and extends collection from 90 to 120 days. So think of it as you're playing CFL football, but they say, but we're going to reduce the size of the field by 4, and we're going to give you 2 extra downs. Or an extra down. So yeah, we're going to shrink the size of the field by 4, but give you an extra down. The score of this game is 196 to
Yeah.
But she's not going to do anything to promote a referendum at all.
Just encourage it. Not promote it, encourage it.
Come on. These changes make a referendum on Alberta independence far more achievable, empowering Albertans to take control of their future. With a lower bar and more time, the push for separation is now within reach. Again, huge win for Alberta sovereignty with a lower bar and more time.
Mm-hmm.
Lower bar and more time to do something bad with a lower bar is a huge win.
Well, Constitution Act of 1982, Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 35. It says right here, where did it go? I had it on my page a second ago. Section 35, Rights, Part 2. So this is Part 2, Rights of the Aboriginal Peoples of Canada. Section 35, the existing Aboriginal treaty rights of the Aboriginal Peoples of Canada are hereby recognized and affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Land claim agreements. It's all there. I posted a link in the chat for those who want to read it.
And also in the Constitution.
I want to thank who pointed that out to me, David Patrick Leo.
Yep. And in the Constitution, if I remember correctly, there is something addressing specifically Inuit, specifically Métis, and specifically First Nations.
Section 35, Article 20 of the Constitution settles it. If you know it, read it again. I know I have to. Is it David or David? Because you have
David.
accents.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, sir, thank you for that. I got to go, sir. I'm
yep.
way behind. So thanks for coming out, everybody. I will endeavor to get an ASMR done at some point today, but I do have a few things I have to take care of because yesterday nothing happened. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Words of wisdom. Get out and smell the flowers if you have time. You never know when you can't do it again.
All right. Thank you, my friend. All right. So, kits and cubs, in this same vein, yesterday, there was this little gem by Mickey Amory, is it? Yes, Mickey Amory is his name, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the Minister of Justice for the UCP. I could be wrong on that. Hold on. Let me just take a check on that for you. Yeah, Minister of Justice and Solicitor General of Alberta. And, well, he had an interesting thing to say here that might be a little concerning if you like things like the law and rights.
Investigation of the UCP in leadership races. These changes would permit people to buy party memberships for a spouse or other family. It does not require their consent, and there's no dispute mechanism. So let's say my husband wanted to buy an NDP membership so he could cast 2 ballots for Nancy in the leadership review. I would have no way of saying unacceptable. So who was asking for this and why?
Well, I think generally speaking, families typically have these conversations amongst each other, and they work together. They talk about where their political views are leaning towards. They look to talk and discuss important issues of the day together. We'd like to think that happens in most families, if not all. And certainly having the ability to, for one individual to purchase a membership for a spouse or a child is not intended to indicate or to suggest that there would be some nefarious type of approach. What it was intended to do is allow for one individual in a family to be able to make a purchase, a bulk purchase, if you will, for direct family members when those family members are all in agreement. We don't presuppose that any family member will buy multiple memberships to cast multiple votes for any individual, and we certainly would not suggest that is appropriate whatsoever. But families typically talk about these things at the dinner table, and they have the opportunity to purchase memberships using one credit card from one individual in the family seems to be the natural way that families typically do this, and I think it's appropriate that we allow them to do that.
To be more direct, we're actually going to hold the NDP to the same strict standard that we have in the UCP. The UCP has always said you can only buy a membership for yourself or a close family member. You can't bulk buy memberships. And so this will ensure that all political parties have to follow that same strict rule in leadership contests.
That her every time I see her, she makes my skin crawl. So you heard that correctly. In this age of foreign interference, they are going to allow someone in a family to buy a membership for everybody, I assume that's a voting age, in their family. With no checks, no balances, no nothing. The same movement that when it comes to Muslim people have a problem with the man of the house, they allegedly have a problem with the man of the house telling the women what to do because they have no rights, according to them, have absolutely no problem in a non-Muslim family, like maybe a Mennonite family or something, with dad being the king of the castle and buying memberships for everybody who's voting age and maybe filling them out himself and deciding for whom everybody in his household is voting for. But they don't think anybody would do that because families talk about this thing these things at the table together. That families talk about politics around the dinner table together has absolutely no bearing, relation at all with the fact of one person, one vote, one membership, one person paying. Keep it clean so that there's no opportunity for interference or shenanigans. Oh, well, we think, we don't know, we think. Because I talk about it with my family around my table, I think everybody does that. So therefore, we're going to put a system in place that opens the door for shenanigans and foreign interference and all that kind of stuff. Because we don't think anybody would use it for any bad purposes. Really. Really. Because that's how we do law. Right? We've invented guns. We don't think anybody will ever do anything bad with the guns, so we don't need any laws. Cars. There's nothing for which we don't have any laws. Right? Anything that you manufacture, there are safety standards, right? Oh, we don't think any manufacturer would willingly put out a bad product. It's like, well, we know that they do. And that they have covered up, bad tests and stuff, right? These rules and regulations exist for a reason. We're just willingly going to leave this gap open because we think and we believe. How about we know? How about we know? This is not. And then, of course, Danielle Smith rushes in at the end to try to make this look virtuous by talking about bulk buying of memberships. We're not talking about bulk buying of memberships. We're just talking about everybody in our party who agrees with our worldview buying additional memberships so that they can support people who agree with our worldview. And we don't think they'll fill it out on we don't think that they are as ambitious and as, crooked as we are, I guess. I don't know what the word is for these people, but it's like, it doesn't matter if they do it, one or two people do it in bulk, or for everybody that believes the same thing you do, you give them a pass to have one person 3 votes or one person 4 votes rather than one person 1 vote, and knowing or feeling rather safe that those votes will all go for you. And what your ideas are, this is just such nonsense. All of it is nonsense. So clear, again, but don't call her a traitor, though, because she gets really upset. Right? Don't call her a traitor, though. This is just not healthy. Okay. So, Danielle Smith. She's clearly going to create problems. Right? Now, again, Danielle Smith just happens to have a little RCMP investigation going on into her administration. And people in the province bring a lot of attention to stuff. So she needs some little razzle-dazzle. Right? Distraction. Some people to blame. Somebody to fight. A villain. She needs to construct herself a political enemy. Because yesterday, Kits and Cubs, while she was, well, maybe not while she was doing that, while she had that on the schedule, there are other people in Alberta that had other things on the schedule yesterday. There was a big, big, big event that took place. This is from the breakdown. And it looks like the rumors are true. There's a grassroots group that is hosting a press conference right now speaking directly to the corrupt care scandal and the former AHS CEO's lawsuit. Let's follow along. The list of speakers is pretty solid. Brace yourselves, y'all. There's some legit heavy hitters here as well. There's a grassroots group that's just delightful, holding up a sign that says, quote, transparency, justice, integrity, and accountability. Looks like they'll be the first speakers today. Friend of the Beaver Lodge, Dave Gray, who was just with us for our election special, is emceeing the event. I have a feeling that this might be something involving the group Alberta Resistance, if that's the case. Looks like things are just about to get started. There's some minor tech issues. The announcement is surrounding the former AHS CEO's lawsuit. So that's Athana Metsalopoulos, former CEO of AHS, who launched a lawsuit because she believes she was wrongfully dismissed for having done her job. Danielle Smith and the UCP claim that she wasn't doing her job. First up is a group of grassroots folks from Daniel Smith's own constituency. They're announcing the launch of a GoFundMe to support the AHS CEO's lawsuit. Turns out the speculation on the government's efforts to crush the former CEO with lawfare track. She needs help. Shelley is speaking for a group of about 6 people from Medicine Hat who have been vocal about their concerns with Smith. She's speaking about the UCP's refusal to call a public inquiry. She says Albertans deserve to know the truth, not toothless investigations. Shelley says that the allegations in the CEO's lawsuit must be tried in court. She's speaking about the UCP's use of 2 law firms using tax dollars to exercise lawfare on Athana Metsalopoulos. They're launching a GoFundMe to ensure that Athana has the resources needed. Shelley confirms that the former CEO is aware of the GoFundMe but didn't solicit it. Shelley stresses that this legal action may be the only way to get to the truth and is asking Albertans to donate to ensure that the truth sees the light. So it seems that what's been going on here behind the scenes is that the government of Alberta, which is UCP-led, has engaged 2 different law firms to try and, make it so expensive for Athana Metsalopoulos to fight her case for wrongful dismissal against the government, thus making sure that the discovery and stuff doesn't come out and government officials don't need to testify. So the people of Alberta have gotten wind of this and are starting a GoFundMe to raise money for her to be able to take on that legal fight. Interesting. Okay. Next up is Dr. Paul Parks. And if we are wondering who Dr. Paul Parks is, he's an emergency physician. He says he's speaking only for himself, but he is throwing his support to the GoFundMe as well. He's fully advocating for the allegations to be tested in court because if the government is burying them, people deserve to know. Dr. Parks is speaking about the lawfare the government is using to crush the lawsuit. Lawfare, taxpayers are paying for it. So yes, people of Alberta, your tax dollars are being used right now by the government to try and break Athana Metsalopoulos so that the allegations she made never get tested in court and that she does not get paid what she is due because they allegedly wrongfully terminated her contract. Dr. Parks is he says that Albertans have the right to know if political interference is affecting their healthcare. Dr. Parks is saying that when corruption and political interference affect the healthcare system, the costs are measured not only in lost dollars, but lost lives. Dr. Parks says that it is in Albertans' interest that the truth come out. Next, we have Dr. Joe Vipond, who is describes himself as a medical doctor trying desperately to save his children's future. He throws his whole support behind what Dr. Paul Parks has said, speaking to the importance of whistleblowers not being supported but persecuted by the powers that be. He calls the CEO, Athana Metsalopoulos, a hero and says that she deserves Albertans' full support. Dr. Vipond says that he is donating and calls for Albertans to do the same and show all of their support. Next up is Dr. Esther Tailfeathers. She is speaking about her work on addictions and cultural awareness in healthcare. She says that she stands with the AHS CEO. She speaks to the strategy that was being built by Indigenous Wellness Corps. Dr. Tailfeathers speaks to the excitement that was present in the hiring of Dr. Dina Hinshaw. She says that Danielle Smith directly called to have her position terminated. She says that there's a pattern of interference and that the term harm reduction was ordered out of AHS documents. Dr. Tailfeathers says that she resigned and she didn't take severance so that she didn't have to sign an NDA and she could raise the alarm with Albertans. She speaks, too, to the disproportionate risk and outcomes to First Nations and Indigenous peoples. Dr. Tailsfeather says that Adriana Lagrange denied residential schools when she was education minister and speaks to the fracturing of healthcare, creating barriers for people to access services. She also addresses the chaos in the healthcare system since Danielle Smith's restructuring. She speaks to a culture of fear in healthcare, that people are afraid to speak out in fear of reprisal. She says that institutional expertise and experience are being lost. Dr. Tailfeathers is also addressing the administrative bloat that has occurred since Smith began to tear apart healthcare. She calls the appointment of Tremblay a conflict of interest and says that the Premier and Lagrange have a track record of dishonesty and covering up the truth. She demands a public judicial inquiry and calls for support of Athana Mentzelopoulos. Next, speaking is Len Olson, who's a retired business and political consultant. He says, and he speaks to the need for transparency in government. He says that it is paired with accountability, says that government should be transparent, and that Smith has a level of transparency of 0. He says Smith and the UCP actively resist accountability. Len states that as a businessman, transparency is a critical part of any sort of economic sustainability, and says that the UCP have actively degraded the quality of healthcare in Alberta, but it's hard to say because there's no transparency. He says that Athana Mentzelopoulos was pursuing transparency and accountability, and says that she was not fired for doing her job wrong, but for pointing out things that were being done wrong. He also calls for support for her. He speaks to the importance of supporting her through the GoFundMe and calls for Albertans to support Athana in the interest of the province. And then Nate Smith from The Breakdown says, "Holy hell." Next up is former Progressive Conservative Deputy Premier of Alberta, Thomas Lukasik. He says that he doesn't normally take a position and he's not attempting to prejudice any outcome, but he says this process is a problem. Lukasik says that he took an oath of office and that he still takes that oath to heart. He calls the situation unprecedented and calls the bludgeon of the Justice Ministry and multiple law firms is being brought down on good faith employees. Lukasik speaks to the barriers that the government put in place with witnesses testifying with the Auditor General have to go through government lawyers first. He says the Auditor General isn't a government employee and that they are supposed to be able to summon anyone to testify. Lukasik says that the government pushing testimony through government lawyers is a violation of the independence of the Auditor General and the process, and says that it's a tremendous cause for concern for Albertans that this action sends a chill to anyone considering testifying. Lukasik also says that the CEO's case is a test case for Alberta and calls for all Albertans to defend the processes because anything less will normalize wrongdoing. Then there is a statement from John Roggeveen, who's a lawyer and a leader of the Alberta Liberal Party. And he submitted a statement that was read. He speaks as a lawyer to the taxpayers' dollars being burned by the government to delay justice and says that the government wants to squash the case in order to prevent the truth from coming to light. Quote, "Albertans need transparency desperately. Albertans need the truth." He says that the government doesn't want Alberta to know the truth and calls for the support of the GoFundMe. And for people who are interested in the GoFundMe itself and want to know a little bit about it, there is a website that goes along with the actions of yesterday, and it's www.saveathana.com. So save, S-A-V-E, Athana, A-T-H-A-N-A, all together as one word, .com. The GoFundMe has a goal of $100,000, and right now I'm looking at it. It has raised $25,813 so far, so 26% of the way to the goal. And I am going to include it here in the chat for the kits and cubs who happen to be watching live. Oh, nope, I'm going to have to do it, unfortunately, with a tiny URL here because it happens to be just a little too long. So I will get that out to you in the chat in a moment, kits and cubs. But yes, this is the type of thing these are the types of things that we need to support. Remember when Nate himself was being pursued, Dave Wallace was being pursued, when Crier Media was being pursued. Warfare is a real thing, and weaponizing the legal system to, keep people from telling the truth or keep people from advocating for their rights is an actual real thing. It's a go-to strategy. It is rather effective. It can work a lot. In often cases, it does work a lot, especially with the groups that are smaller or against individuals who definitely do not have the means to fight all of that on their own. And that's why we band together. We take the idea that there are more of us than there are of them, and we try to band our resources together to fight these types of things. But in this particular case, we have somebody who had spotted something going awry and was trying to bring light to it. And it seems that there's a lot of people that have a lot of interests in trying to stop her from not only going to get what is rightfully hers in terms of her salary and her compensation, but in terms of making sure that the system is not corrupt. So we have to pay attention to that. So that's going on with Danielle. Then there are two other premiers. We talked a little bit about them yesterday who were causing some trouble for the Conservatives. Now, Danielle is causing trouble for herself, but trying to cause trouble for Mark Carney. That's true in doing this. So she's clearly indicating that she's not going to be on Team Canada anyway, and she's going to try to make life difficult for the Prime Minister. I'm guessing the objective here is, given that he only got a minority for 2 years, just try to saddle him with a whole bunch of things, call him every name in the book. Hopefully there'll be another federal election, and then the Conservatives will be able to slide in then. And that's what Pierre Poilièvre is hoping as well, I'm sure, by trying to stay on. Whether or not she's helping or hurting here is a whole other thing to be debated. And whether or not that's going to help her or hurt her, we don't know. There's a good portion of this, unfortunately, that is, again, as we mentioned, distraction on her part, because, well, she needs a few, to be honest. But also clearly on brand for her. Nothing is going to change with her. It's going to be the same attack mode that she's always been on, vilifying Ottawa to try to elevate herself. And of course, in this particular case, vilifying the NDP. So, this from Theo Moudakis, I thought was a rather clever one yesterday. I'll try to blow it up here for you, kits and cubs. But it's an editorial cartoon from Theo Moudakis. And it has Mark Carney saying, "My first priority is to remove any obstacle to national unity." And you see Danielle Smith reading a letter. "Dear Premier Smith, congratulations. You have been appointed to the Senate. Mark Carney." That would be a good way. That would be a clever way to get her out of the way. I'm not sure that that's going to happen, though. But yeah, it would definitely be clever. So she's not going to be helpful. That's very clear. Now, there are two other premiers that are getting in the way, but they're getting in the way of Pierre Poilièvre's ambitions in order to be able to remain. Now, again, we've seen a lot of people over the past few days, particularly from the pro-Poilièvre side, rushing to the camera saying, well, there's no reason to go, he can stay, all that good stuff. He's been working really hard. Look at all these wonderful results he got. All those results are good, but again, loser talk, right? He lost the election. He lost his seat. And even in his own writing, again, right, they're pointing to stuff like, when Doug Ford was reelected, this many people voted for him in his riding. Pierre had like so many more people vote for him in his riding. Yeah, but they weren't similar elections, right? The voter turnout in general for the Ontario election was way lower than the national one. So, of course, with different voter turnouts, you expect to get more votes. But Doug Ford increased his vote share in his riding, was Pierre dropped by 6%. So, again, the people from the Conservative who point to the first top line number, well, he got more. Okay, but what did that mean in real life? Doug Ford got a third mandate, got his seat. Pierre did not get a mandate and lost his seat. It's about seats. Doug Ford actually said that in one of the comments dismissing. It's like, yeah, you count the votes, but at the end of the day, it's about seats. And Pierre did not get the seats, not even his own. Hey, Canadians elected a parliament without Pierre Poilièvre in it. For a change. I know, I'm petty. So we have Tim Houston, of course, making some comments and confirming that the stories in the Globe are true, that there wasn't very much communication, and that Jenny Byrne did try to use some strong arm tactics. And we have Doug Ford as well, pretty much dismissing out of hand the counterattacks that are coming from the Conservatives. And right, just again, not planning to be helpful in any way, shape, or form. And I think I have a clip of that for you here, kids and cubs. But I will need to cue that up for you here. So while I do that, I'll just keep moving with the story, and the clip might come a little later here. So there are, how would I put it? You've got Pierre that wants to hold on, and as we're talking about, this is going to be on his part, guaranteed a fingernails in the floorboard type of thing, right? To get him to go. He really, really, really does want to stay. Absolutely. He is convinced that he just needs a little more time, and this time he will. It's almost like somebody with a gambling debt. I just need a little more time. I'll get it done. Promise. I'm working on a couple of things, and it'll work out. You'll see. Um, but he's basically saying, it's like, oh, I got so close. And listen, they're saying we made historic gains. You didn't make historic gains. The party did not make historic gains. Harper got a majority once. That was the historic gains. Whatever gains you made in Ontario this time around are not historic. I believe it was Andrew Scheer that was trying to peddle that one yesterday. So yeah, that's not going to fly very well. But within the party, there might not be as much appetite to see him go, despite how ornery he is and unpleasant he is, and the Iron Fist. This is a party that has had a certain number of leadership changes in a row, and they probably think, they're using that concern again, like, well, we could have an election at any time, so we have to keep the current leader. The Bloc has pretty much said that, if the Conservatives want to do it, they have about a year and a half runway, right? So that's type of thing is BS too, in terms of an excuse on their part for not doing it or not taking the plunge. But you're going to, how would I put it? The longer it takes for things in the Conservative Party to organize itself, the longer the accumulated ooze from the resentment and the hurt feelings and all of that will continue to bubble over, right? We saw it the other day with Jamil Javani, right? That was an outburst. That was a total loss of mastery of self in there. That was a someone scorned, having their moment. All the resentment that had accumulated, trying to get a little bit of revenge in a way by making that settle a score. And the new people that the Conservatives have elected, like the Aaron Guns and that stuff, they're not into tempering the message for the next go round. I'm not sure that if Pierre stays, right, that he has learned the lessons from this election, that he was the drag. It's more like, I got so close. Just give me a little more time, and I just got to work a little harder at the things I was doing, and I will be able to wear them down eventually. And you know what? Maybe he is right. Maybe he's right. But analysts and whatnot that I've been hearing talking about, and basically what we've seen from 20 years of him, is he doesn't seem to be the type of person that takes in information coming from other people that he might be on the wrong path. So the lessons he is taking from this election are probably not the same lessons that the rest of us see. Right? He sees having gotten closer to the goal, and therefore he is the guy. He's gotten closer than the other two have. Just give me one more shot. The rest of us look at it and say, dude, you were clearly the drag on your party. The party was trying to hide you at the end. You're not the guy. So the more time it takes to settle through these things, the more this resentment will build. And like I said, there's, Tim Houston, it doesn't look like he's willing to get in it and get as elbows up, for lack of a better word, as Doug Ford and Corey Tenayk and all of them are. And of course, as we mentioned, there are other sources who might be interested in the job. Jason Kenney looks like he might have an eye out for it, and maybe someone within the whole Mulroney clan might be wanting to look at it. So there's definitely a lot of sources of competition coming. It's not going to be as easy for Pierre as he would like to, unless all of caucus really is just determined that they do not want to have a leadership thing at this moment. It's just too much. They're just going to stick with the guy they brought. But I do not expect that to come with a change in tone or anger politics or resentment politics, victim politics that they keep on playing. So here is the quick little clips I was mentioning to you, Kits and Cubs, about Doug Ford and Tim Houston yesterday, showing that as much as Pierre would like these things to quietly, we're still willing to keep talking about them in the press long enough and often enough for it to be a recurring inconvenience for him.
Thanks. All right, this is CBC's JP Tasker. Well, as Conservative leader Pierre Poilièvre tries to shore up federal support, he's facing some criticism provincially. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston was asked today why he didn't campaign alongside Poilièvre, and Houston confirmed there was a tense call, or at least text, with Poilièvre's campaign manager Jenny Byrne, who reportedly threatened Houston's political team.
Hey, if you're a renter in Canada...
Of course, they would do that right before showing the clip. Even though I've only been playing it for a couple of seconds there. So apologies for that, Kits and Cubs. That is, I'm going to have to solve that soon enough there. Probably get myself a paid YouTube membership in that case so that I can show you these without commercials coming on the way and interfering. That's one of the advantages that Mr. Grizzly has over me on this. All right, kids and cubs, here we go again with Mr. Houston, the Premier of Nova Scotia.
With him, I don't have a relationship with him. Obviously, during our campaign, there was a situation. I think the Globe story was pretty accurate. Is that something that happened there that kind of probably had ramifications on both sides? I think the Conservative Party of Canada was very good at pushing people away, not so good at pulling people in, and I think that they probably saw that in some of the results they had across the country.
Well, Ontario Premier Doug Ford was out again today, and he also lobbed some criticism at Poilièvre's campaign today when Ford was asked why he didn't back Poilièvre.
I shouldn't interfere in the federal election. Last time I checked, Pierre Poilièvre never came out in our election. Matter of fact, him or one of his lieutenants told every one of his members, "Don't you dare go out and help the PCs." Isn't that ironic? But anyways, I'm not going to dig deep into this. The people spoke, and I have no say in who people vote for. But I'll tell you one thing. We have a government, democratically elected. I will hold them accountable.
Okay, despite their issues with...
All right. So, right? Doug Ford seems to be taking particular delight in sticking it to him. But a lot of this is very junior high. He didn't call me after I won. Right? So he told Johnny told Jenna not to come to my birthday party. So now she's not invited to my... Yeah, it's just like again, all of it seems so junior high. It really is. But on the other part, right, politics is about people and relationships. And you literally, as Tim Houston said, had a party that kept on saying, that was very good at pushing people away rather than bringing people in. Right. And in this case, well, it looks like Jamil Javani is going to insist on being the gift who keeps on giving, because Jamil Javani, it seemed, got wind of this comment and did not like it when he made some point in some interview somewhere saying, they say we pulled people together, we brought in these greatest numbers and all these other people, the union people and students, we're bringing people together. Yes, you are attracting some people that weren't there before, but you're doing it at the cost of pushing people away. Eric Girard, Mike DeYoung, Sabrina Mado. You're pushing people away. David Johnston, Mark Carney. Oh, well, they were conservatives once, but they got a little bit of liberal on them, so they're not real. Doug Ford's not a. They've got, well, here, just Wyatt Sharp. We have a lot of respect for this young man. Says losing an election and then making excuses, blaming others, or saying some party members, quote, aren't conservative enough is exactly how you lose the next one too. And this is what I'm saying here when I'm saying Jamil Javani is seems that he wants to be the gift who keeps on giving. He just can't seem to let this go. Like I said, this for him is personal. Image of Doug Ford as Hulk Hogan ripping off the first t-shirt that says Ontario PC and has a Liberal t-shirt underneath it. Doug Ford, a Liberal, says Jamil Javani. So that interview meltdown that he had wasn't a one-off. He's elected now, and he's going to settle scores. This is a war. Drip, 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 drip. The more time this is given to fester and brew, the more it's going to bubble over. If Jamil Javani is doing this, there's no truce coming between the Ontario PCs, the Nova Scotia PCs, and the federal Conservatives. There's no truce coming there. And also, in Quebec, François Legault went on the record the other day saying that, he's had time to meet and chat with, in all the times that so far that he's met and chatted and had time to interact with Mark Carney, he feels good about it. So you've got the leader of conservative movements, and remember, the CAQ, as Chantal Hébert reminded us on At Issue the other night, is an ideologically right-wing party, right? Because we have this vision of Quebec of being like this very left-wing province, and it very much is in many cases and in many ways. But the CAQ is definitely a right-wing government. So you have Ontario, biggest province, Quebec, second biggest province, Nova Scotia, biggest province in Atlantic Canada, where the Conservatives weren't doing well. They all have ideologically conservative governments, and Pierre Poilièvre, for all three of them, didn't reach out, didn't congratulate, tried to make no relations. Imagine if all those premiers put their machines, get out the vote machines, whatnot, at the disposal of the Conservatives in this past election. Poilièvre would have won. Poilièvre probably would have won. But he didn't need them because they weren't conservative enough. Not pure enough. So Mark Carney has a great opportunity right now to establish some very solid inroads on the federal provincial thing, with moving the whole economy forward in a different direction with Doug Ford, Tim Houston, and François Legault. And if Pierre remains leader, he won't be able to get them back. He'll have Danielle Smith, maybe. Jury's still out on whether or not she tried to sink him because she would like his job too, or whether or not, she would like to probably. I'm sure that she would really love to leave what's going on in Alberta right now behind her and try for a bigger job where she can turn around and says, well, I'm not the premier anymore, so ministerial responsibility, that's someone else's now, and just keep on living her life. Unclear about whether or not she's trying to get rid of him by elevating him so much, or whether or not she really actually does believe that they are two peas in a pod and trying to tie herself to him. Time will tell on that one. So Doug Ford, not going to be helpful. Jamil Javani, clearly not going to be helpful. Going the other way around. Pierre definitely wanting to stay. Got Mr. D'Entremont, who is the only Conservative elected in the province of Nova Scotia, saying that Pierre deserves to stay and whatnot, but he doesn't see any need for any of the newly elected MPs to step down to clear a seat for him. And he does see himself as more of a Tim Houston type progressive Conservative. So there is a bit of a progressive Conservative faction that's not willing to do a full-throated denunciation, but is willing to level a couple of bits of constructive criticism in public already. The fact that Chris D'Entremont was on Power in Politics yesterday was quite a switch, because no CPC MPs were allowed on the show for a long time. And all of a sudden, there's an election they lose, and whoop. Oh, guess which party needs the CBC again that it wanted to defund? It's the Canadian version of they don't have anything we need. CBC is good for nothing, has nothing we need. We just lost an election. Oh, God, I sent our people onto the CBC to talk to the nation. Apparently, there's some photos of the people from the Western Standard Row watching the results coming in on the CBC. It's like, yeah, the jokes write themselves, right? So you got Conservative MPs appearing on the CBC. Another switch, too. Elizabeth May yesterday was on Power and Politics. She had mentioned that Rosemary Barton had pretty much blacklisted her. All of a sudden, she's back, too. It's amazing how an election changes a couple of things. Is it? All this new behavior all of a sudden. now that an election is over. Interesting. But yeah, so there are some people willing already within the party to not give full-throated endorsements. There's someone within the party making sure that the war with the Ontario progressive conservatives remains, story has legs and keeps running by doing stuff like that, posting these types of memes, right? And there's going to be a whole bunch of journalists, I'm sure, that, if Bob Fife and Andrew Coyne have something to say out in public with regard to Pierre Poilièvre staying on, that it probably will not be positive to the idea. So, like I said, Pierre is not going to go. He's not going to go easily. He's not going to go quickly. But if he is going to go, it's going to be long and drawn out. Again, fingernails in the floorboards, lots of mess, lots of crying, lots of settling of scores, retribution, and it's all going to happen out in public. It's all going to happen out in public. It's not going to be great. And we have Dave Wallace here, who was on our election return show at the end, near the end, saying somebody posted calling a by-election for a leader is something that only happens for leaders who were not MPs and just elected party leader. Never before has a leader sought a by-election after the voters rejected them and tossed them from their own seat. Right? Somebody said that. Some people tried to correct that. It's happened numerous times in Canadian politics. Christy Clark, Don Getty, Clyde Wells, and former Liberal PM Mackenzie King are examples of Canadian political party leaders who lost their seat on election night only to win in a subsequent by-election. So there you go. Fact check on that one. But to all of this, Dave Wallace said, he'll be gone by then anyway. He was talking about Pierre Poilièvre. Spoke to a member of Pierre's team this morning, someone I did a few fixes for in the past. They are already starting to push to remove Pierre Poilièvre. Its next man is up, and it won't be Pierre. So, said the party might also be attempting to give Pierre the chance to come to the realization on his own and step down gracefully. Not that there's much in his life that he has done gracefully. When he has the realization that it just cannot be him. But gosh darn it, he's going to try. Popcorn, anyone? Yeah, this could be good. And hey, who knows? Maybe he will see the light very quickly after a week or two, that behind the scenes, even though everybody on TV is still saying, oh yes, he achieved some gains from us. If he, that will depend on the party. We have to meet and talk and stuff like that. But yes, there's a path for him to stay. But back of the lines, like, just go. It's not going to happen for you. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's definitely no lack of intrigue at the moment. I will tell you that, good friends. All right. Let's see where we are time-wise, kids and cubs here. Oh boy, already 2 something. I had so much news for you, but we were so chatty at the beginning. It was fun though. It was fun chat. So you know what? I am going to save the other stuff for other days because yeah, we're just going to save some stuff for other days. I'll be able to blend it into other episodes at other time here. There was if you haven't watched Power and Politics yesterday, there is a good panel discussion about the CPC's future and all that type of stuff, and the NDP's future as well. It's very good. We'll try to bring in snippets from it. There's an interview with Elizabeth May as well, and as we mentioned yesterday, Jonathan Pedno, the co-leader, stepped down from there. So we'll try to, in subsequent episodes, try to bring you some of the stuff a little more grouped per party, and sort of give you the story of the parties over the past couple of days as the fallout happens. We started a little bit, gave you a little some little ideas yesterday in terms of strategy, and where are the limitations, where are the opportunities. But we're going to see actually look at some developments going party per party, at least for the Greens, the NDP, and a little bit, and the Conservatives as well, over the next coming days. And of course, keep following the Prime Minister, who we expect not to hear too much from over the next couple of days, as they're reading all the briefing books and trying to determine what cabinet would be, and maybe make arrangements to send the Sherpas out for some pre-meetings before any face-to-face meeting between the Prime Minister and the President of the United States. So there will be lots of activity, but it might be like a duck on water, the legs under the water, moving furiously, but not much happening seemingly on the surface of the water for the rest of this week and maybe beginning of next week. But we'll see there. There was also something yesterday that we haven't touched on. Doug Ford made one heck of a rant with regard to things having to do with the law. Probably his distraction from what's going on. It was kind of ironic to see Doug Ford yelling about jail not bail and all that kind of stuff. And again, because there's a RCMP investigation into his administration as well. So, if you want to stop repeat criminals, you might want to look a bit in your own administration too, as opposed to talking about people. And again, in this debate, right, they keep on conflating petty crime with violent crime. These people are, commit 30, 40 crimes, they keep on getting released. Yes, because they're petty crimes. And then he says, somebody breaks down their door with a gun and tries to, well, that person probably would not be released the next day or hours after, right? So there seems to be no nuance or distinction made between the various level of crimes, right? Petty crime and, felony crimes and that type of stuff, violent crime and, crimes of despair. So it just all goes into one big jumble, and what Doug Ford had to say had some shades of Orban. I guess it seems that there seems to be a prevailing attitude within the conservative movement, and Doug Ford seems to be banging the drum on this one, that when a judge does not decide your way, or the way that you would like it, that there's something wrong with the judge, as opposed to something wrong with your law or your argument or your process. And that is a very, 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 very dangerous bit of rhetoric to be putting out into the public sphere. So we will get to that over the next while as well, kids and cubs. But yes, we wanted to bring you the information with regard to the letters from the Treaty 8 group and oh God, I can't remember the name of the nation. Oh God, something Lake Cree Nation. Oh my God, I feel so terrible. So I'm so sorry for having forgotten the name of the nation. That's just terrible on my part. Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation. So my apologies for that. But yes, those two nations, giving us some real politic here. This, you can flap your wings and move a lot of air and create a big spectacle. But there are some things that are true, have always been true, and will always be true. And we're here to remind you of that. And so, yeah, there we go, kids and cubs. I think we have a show. Kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We love it when you do. Now, if you would like to support us, well, we've got ways for you to do that. Now, let's say you're a kit or a cub that's on the go. You're very busy, lots of things to do, saving the world, and, making the perfect sandwiches for lunch as well, so that, the kids who are brown bagging it have some yummy stuff to eat that's good for them. Well, don't worry. We are portable. Sometimes you just need to have us in your ears while you're on the go, or, on your car stereo while you're driving somewhere. Well, we make that very convenient. And thanks to the Ray Girl, who sponsors our pod page, well, we are able to make that even more convenient. If you just scan that QR code right there, or if you go to podpage.com/the truenortheagerbeaver with a hyphen between each one of those words, well, when you click our subscribe button, anytime that we have a new audio cast for you, boom, right into your audio cast player. And you don't even have to go looking for us. We come directly to you because we like to help. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like to be of assistance to us in yet another way, well, Kid Elaine has some news for you. We have a YouTube page now. The members of the Damn Fam who are watching live know that. Thank you to whoever scanned the QR code. The members of the Damn Fam are aware of that, but maybe you at home are not who are listening. But yes, we have a YouTube page where you can watch us in video format, video cast, if you would like to do that. And if you happen to be able to join us live in the morning, you can join the conversation with the best Damn Fam in all of podcasting. So please go to our YouTube page, True North Eager Beaver Media on YouTube, and we have 3 buttons for you: like, share, and subscribe. Please click them. It makes us very, very happy when you do, and it really does help us out with the algorithms, and we appreciate that help. Also, if you happen to be listening to us in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, stars and reviews help us with the algorithm a lot. It apparently boosts your visibility and all that good stuff. So, thanks for all your help that you do that. Also, when you retweet us and share us on your socials and write something atop of whatever it is that you are sharing, that's gold, right? So we appreciate everything that you do for us in helping us to get the word out. If you would like to help us in other ways, we do incur some costs to bring the show to you. So if you find what we do of value and you would like to offer us some support and encouragement to do more of it for you and develop new products and different types of things for you, we would be happy to receive your expressions of gratitude and encouragement via our tip jar that we affectionately call the Emergency Hydration Fund, because, hey, you got to do your bit to keep your beaver moist. Some extra S's there on that one. So if you would like us to keep on speaking moistly to you, because dry beaver is a very bad thing, well then, a little contribution, if you happen to have some spare change, to the Emergency Hydration Fund, also known as our tip jar, would be very helpful. And you can do that via our coffee page. Now that's coffee spelled ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And if you go there and leave us a little something, well, hey, not only will you earn our undying gratitude, but you will instantly become 18.3% more interesting at parties. We've tested it at the Beaver Lodge Labs. It's just science. So, make yourself more magnetic. Tipping is very sexy. So we appreciate everything that you're able to do for us. We really, really, truly do. And thank you to everyone who made April a decent month for us with our election coverage. We didn't have time to do a lot of our Friday fundraisers on our YouTube chat. So those of you who still thought of us throughout the month with everything going on, we are very, very grateful. So every drop and till adds to the pot. It helps. No donation is too small. So if you would like to buy me a congratulatory or an At a Beaver cup of hot chocolate, or Mr. Grizzly cup of coffee, we would be most obliged for the generosity. All right, kids and cubs, that's all we got for that part. Because democracy is something that you do, remember, there is a Liberal leadership race in the province of Quebec coming up. Results will be in June, so do what you need to do to find out who are the candidates and to register to vote if that is still open. I do promise that now that I have time, I will actually look more into it and be able to tell you more than there's just a Liberal leadership race going on. And give you more details. But yes, that is happening in June. So please know that that's there. And of course, over the next couple of days, just try to inoculate yourself, because there's going to be a lot of BS and attempts to gaslight and with different theories and stuff from all around. So take in the bits of information, put them in the file folder, but don't necessarily act on them and then wait to see if you get anything that's corroborating, or whether or not it was just something that happened and then fizzled out there and didn't go any further. This is going to move into the words of wisdom part, but in these times we need to manage our emotions, and particularly manage our cortisol, and that means like not having our emotions go what every time we see something on the web that's going to cause us to react. Remember, a lot of this content is generated for the purposes of generating, catalyzing, if you would, as Mr. Carney says, that what reaction, getting you all inflamed so that you bypass the logic center and then you respond emotionally. So stuff like Donald Trump saying, yeah, we're going to meet next week. Stuff like people saying, oh, well, now I'm leaving Canada. Stuff like that's all frothiness meant to keep you in that sphere of anger and reaction. So whenever you see something out there, say, what? I can't believe that. Maybe don't believe it at first. So just, again, manage the cortisol. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of BS, a lot of gaslighting operations at the moment. But in time, truth will reveal itself, and what the actual facts and the course of action ahead, the path to be taken forward will reveal itself, and we'll see where people are stepping. Right now, it's just a big pile of mush, and anything can be interpreted anyway. It's going to take a couple of days to sort some of the stuff out and to try to get some clear indicators of where it is that we are going. So don't run with the first thing over the next few days. You might save yourself a lot of stress. Okay? Kids and cubs, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, kids and cubs, say it with me. Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. All right. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.